What you do for yourself dies. What you do for others and for the world remains and is alive forever. Your coming to the world as a human being, because you are different, you are a sense breeding animal, you are different from other animals. You have what you say conscience, you have vidya dadati viveka. He says, Dr. Radhakrishna says, vidya sabidya ja vivukta. No, that is there. Education liberates you from all kinds of bondages like ignorance, like poverty, like superstition. That is there. When you are enlightened, when you are educated, when you are exposed, you are bound to be away from all these dark qualities of life. The Indian doctors are there, technocrats are there. That is how India is going to be a global player.
सर्विस टू गॉड इज सर्विस टू मैनकाइंड। ये हमने हर किसी ने ये बचपन में सुना होगा, अभी भी सुनते हैं। ऐसे एक स्पीकर आज हमें ओडिया वारी बढ़िया फर्स्ट स्पीकर डॉक्टर सुरेंद्र मिश्रा, ही वॉज टॉकिंग अबाउट सर्विस एंड मुझे लगता है हर किसी को ये पॉडकास्ट सुनना चाहिए।
Before we start this episode, I want to say thank you so much from bottom of my heart for being here. अगर आप यहाँ पे आप फर्स्ट टाइम आए हैं एंड आपको हमारे पॉडकास्ट अच्छा लगे, then kindly do follow the JRS Show. And it will help me to reach more and more people, impact more and more lives, and more than this, I can bring more and more people to my show to inspire you, to help you create a better life. Thank you so much, and let's begin the show.
First of all, namaste and thank you so much for joining the JRS Show. It's been an honor and privilege to see you from the school, and I was so inspired with you, the way you were speaking and doing things. I'm like, the one day I'll for sure interview you, and as finally you're here. And the project that I started recently, Ame Odia Bhari Badhiya, and you're the first person from Odisha, and the work that you did, I feel so proud being an Odia. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming to the JRS Show.
Welcome.
So I just want to start with, what is your early life? How did you start all of this?
Actually, it's a long journey. My trajectory has become it has not been very easy. I was born in a village and my father was a freedom fighter, and early from my childhood and school days, I got in touch with political leaders, and leaders in those days were totally different from those that we encounter, meet, and interact now. In those days, they were really dedicated and very helpful, and they were totally out to make some positive contribution to the society. Like in those days, you see the number of schools and colleges,
Right
it was
now.
not there, and but I was very fortunate that in my village, my father and his friends, even much before that, there was a government school, and that school was totally different from the kind that we come across now. Like it was a senior basic school in which we were all born after independence. I was born in the second decade of independence, and those days children were very uninterested. Means they were not inspired to study
Education.
education, because schools were not there, and they had to travel, at least work at least 5 to 7 kilometers to study in a UP school, and such facilities were not there in those days. And we were fortunate because in the same village where I was born, we had a school, and the school was of a very grand style. Means the school, that kind of school was not in every block.
Okay.
It was just after independence. The policymaker thought that this education with a vocational background, like when you are in the school, you have to learn everything, like integrated kind of education. So in those days, the only Indian icon was Mahatma Gandhi, even though he was not there. And every policy, whether it is education or any cultural, so it was all modeled after his principles and his outlook. So in my school there was a power loom, and there
Wow.
was a cultivation. There was regular prayer early in the morning. One teacher who would be in charge of one teacher. Around 20 boys would be in charge of a teacher. The teacher would be using the cot and will sit on the sit and sleep on the floor. And I have tremendously benefited from that kind of boarding, from that kind of experience, in the sense that the teacher would engage us in the early hours of the morning, in the late hours of the evening. After we had our dinner, the teacher would tell us very historical events and also stories from the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, and from many spiritual angles. So that used to, I feel now, such upbringing, such kind of acquaintance with the teachers helped us a lot. And like in today's society, so I have taught for more than 37 years, and I have come across students of many backgrounds, many races, many communities.
Do you think somehow it's missing now? Like
Yes,
this
yes, yes, yes.
early
That
time?
cultural landscape, that spiritual landscape is missing very much, and there is a vacuum. Maybe we have made tremendous progress materially, but what actually we need to enrich our life and to make life worth living, and that element is really missing from our life, because that obedience, that kind of fidelity to culture, to spiritualism, to community, to our legacy, so that is missing. And we are really very shocked, because unless the young generations, uh, fine, we have to accept new ideas, new policies, new technologies. There should not be any war, there should not be any obstacle. But at the same time, and it's a good thing that our students are now in every state of the world. So that is how India is going to be a global player. Global player means Indian doctors are there, technocrats are there. It is not only in USA, it is not only in Germany. In every state of some recognition in the world, you find our students, our teachers, our researchers.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's a very
happening.
good thing, and in a positive way, they are carrying our culture, a segment of our culture, to that
Right.
new land, and somehow, when there is really something very good and something substantially helpful, and it is easily acceptable by the people in the long run. Maybe people are carried away, swept away by the glitter of opulence, but that will not live longer, that will not last longer. People will eventually will come down to the grassroots, to
Grassroots, right?
in a sense they will be back to square one.
Basics, yeah.
Yes, yes, and that is happening, and that sign is clearly is in the offing. I
Like
can clearly
according
see.
to you, like in our education system, what are the things you see, obviously being a professor and all of these things that you are doing, what are the things missing, and how we can work on that to make the education system more better?
Actually, Indian system of education is totally different from the Western
Yeah,
education system, and here is
absolutely.
a kind of intimacy, kind of interaction, a closeness, which you cannot imagine in the Western world. You find real gurus here, you
Yeah,
find real teachers here, but in the Western world you find facilitators.
yeah.
You find a guide. So there is a kind of love, real love is there, charm is there, but there it is a kind of very the prosaic kind of transaction. Academic transaction cannot be like trade or like commerce. It's a communication between young people. So young people must know, because they are not only to earn their livelihood, not only to make a career, but at the same time, there is a heavy, huge responsibility on them, and it is to make their nation very progressive, very rich, and very prosperous. Prosperous not only in the material sense, but they must, what ideas we breed here, what ideas we give here to our young children will ultimately be their identity on the global stage.
Right.
And
Somehow also I feel the value system is quite missing when I see people, the strong value system that I come from a very small school, but the value system that I learned, I think that this is also missing in nowadays. That how do you think that the value system can be integrated to all of this so that people will be more not only grow in the mark or percentage wise, they will grow
they are
as a
after they're after career means they're after percentage.
yeah.
So people want to make a good career means good percent. They want to score 95, 97, 98. That is how they are now considering and they're valuing their career in terms of percentage of marks. But actually that is not, we want actually good citizens.
Right.
And good
Humans.
citizens, good citizenship makers. Look at the makers of India. Look at Mahatma
Exactly.
Gandhi. Look at Jawaharlal Nehru. Look at Malavya. So all those people, they were highly qualified.
Yeah.
And unlike most of us, they were also educated in foreign universities.
Right.
And Gokhale, you say, for example, Gokhale, he was a teacher, he was a professor. So we say he was Gandhi's teacher, Gandhi's guru. And why Gandhi did accept such an Indian to be his guru? Because he has traveled to Europe and studied in Inner Temple, and that is a very reputed law college, and traveled to South Africa. But he found that he was a man of substance. Gokhale was a man of substance, and Indian students, Indian student community must inherit that substance, and that substance is made of your cultural values, your spiritual values, and your traditional values.
Right.
So we cannot just dismiss all our traditions to be a misfit power. No, there are certain things in our tradition which help us considerably in making our life worthy of living and worthy of being proud of. So
Right.
that is there, and that is missing really. Value, life values, they are missing from our life because students are after, they do not consider, they cannot see beyond tomorrow. They do not look back. They do not even see into future. So that is they do not have a vision. That is
Yeah, I also feel at the same time that money is coming. If you are too much career focused, you are getting into there. But another side of thing, the happiness is missing, the relationship is missing. I feel all of the lag is because of the strong value system, and we don't have a value system, and we don't follow that.
that relationship, whether it is between your parents children relationship,
Right.
students teachers relationship, relationship with the neighbors, with your friends. So everybody is talking of shortage of time. They do not have time. They're running after their own career. They want to make professionally very sound. So that is, one should be a scientist. There is no harm and there is no obstacle. And one should be a doctor, one should be a good technocrat. But at the same time, one must be a good citizen. A good citizen inheriting all these social, human, spiritual, philanthropic values will present a different personality to the people and to the world. Unless you possess these virtues, the supreme virtues of life, then your coming to the world as a human being, because you are different. You are a sense breeding animal. You are different from other animals. You have what you say conscience. You have vidya dadati viveka. He says, Dr. Radhakrishna says, vidya sabidya ja vimukta. No, that is there. Education liberates you from all kinds of bondages like ignorance, like poverty, like superstition. That is there. When you are enlightened, when you are educated, when you are exposed, you are bound to be away from all these dark qualities of life. So you must be after the supreme virtues of life. But one thing is missing. Somebody met an accident, is dying, and you You are running to your office and not spending even 1 minute caring to look at him that he is your fellow human
Humanity.
being. So
Yeah.
that is really very, very sad. This attitude of indifference. We are not concerned. We do not feel emotionally that kind of bonding as a human being. Forget about your parents. Affection is there. But still, when you are a social human being, you must have a positive bond. You must have a bonding with your neighbors, and that is lacking, and we have to promote that.
Not
And
only
that has to be a part of your personality in the process of your upbringing
right,
upbringing
right.
and it cannot you cannot grow it overnight. it
Yes.
has to it has to grow with you. It
Time.
has to grow with you from your childhood.
Yeah.
Your parents are responsible, your neighbors are responsible, your teachers are responsible. So all the people, your elderly people and your friends, they are all responsible for this kind of personality. And India is different from other countries. Why Indian students, Indian children, Indian professionals are making breakthroughs on
Right.
the global platform? It is because they have retained that kind of spiritual essence, moral essence, which others do not have. That when we are concerned with others, concerned about their worries, about their sorrows, but Western people, Western students, they are um, extremely concerned with themselves, and they cannot go beyond themselves. So that is really very hideous kind of thing called individualism. So you have to go beyond that straight jackets of individualism to a bigger world. And so that we there is a word called Ubuntu, and that is an African Zulu word. And Ubuntu means I am because you are.
Oh,
I,
wow.
I am because you are. I cannot leave if you are not there. So it shows that I am for you and you are for me. So that kind of symbiotic relationship,
Very
the
beautiful. Yeah.
symbiotic relationship, that has to exist, and that has to be nurtured, that has to be nourished. Then only, and our life would be very healthy. Our administration, democracy, everything administration, our policies will be carried out without any objection, without any protest. So the kind of violence you see,
Yeah.
because there is no fellow feeling. So when I cannot feel for you, when you are in distress, whether you are a Muslim, whether you are a Christian, whether you are a Jew, doesn't matter. But we are all human beings,
Right.
and the earth has to exist, the globe has to exist, and only how the only good human beings, they have a great role to perform. And unless you do your duty as a human being, not as a professional, then this world is on the path of disintegration, extinction.
Yeah.
And you look at the
Yeah.
first atomic bomb on Hiroshima
Yeah.
and yes, you see how innocent people were massacred, and there is no and that kind of devastating situation must not repeat. As human beings, we must expect.
Right. So coming back to, because we had discussed a lot of things. So coming back to your early life, you come from a Odia medium thing, and how did you became like English
And actually,
professor?
it was because of my teachers. From early, I with because most of my teachers are not there, but still then they are continuing through me. I always say that I never say he was my teacher. He is my teacher. Why? Because a teacher's influence affects eternity. A teacher affects eternity. Nobody knows where his influence stops.
Right.
And my headmaster was Ananta Prasad Padhi. He was from Iram. And where he was a very ideal kind of teacher. And all our teachers, there was one only lady teacher, and that lady teacher, we used to address her as Ma, Guruma. And everyone was wearing khadar, and everyone was ideal. You must learn something or other from one of our teachers, from every one of our teachers. So that is a very great thing. And like the English medium schools, like all the teachers, there would have an assembly in the beginning of the class, and we used to have that kind of thing. All the teachers would assemble, headmaster would assemble, all teachers would, and the thought of the day would be discussed, and it would be presented by a. So everything was done in such a beautiful way that even unruly students would be interested and would be inspired by seeing this kind of arrangement
From the
in the
school
school,
time.
from the school time. And from school time, I always used to watch my teachers very sincerely and very seriously. And headmaster used to, I used to take pride in the activities of our headmaster, in his personality. And when I came to college, and great teachers were there. So I was a science student. I studied my intermediate in science, and everybody thought that I would be a doctor in those days. Going to a medical science was not, becoming a doctor was not that difficult. It was for a good student. Many of my friends are doctors, but only thing, poverty was there. And only forget about the contribution. People are now making huge donations to study their, educate their children in the medical science, medical college. But in those days, only you cannot think that 200 rupees, only 200 rupees. Parents did not have 200 rupees to educate their children in medical colleges. So poverty was a great stumbling block. And even though I was also from a very poor family, because my brothers, sisters, we had many brothers and sisters. My father was not that affluent. I know, I was telling, my father was a freedom fighter. He only believed in working for others. And he said that be a good man and be a good student and be a good son, and study whatever you like. And my college teachers, equally like my school teachers, were very inspiring. And my principal, he was the hero of our college. I studied in Bhadra College, and principal was Professor late Surendra Mishra. When he used to come to take the first class. He took the first class in IS, I remember, and that was mesmerizing. When the principal would speak with such accent, because he studied in Presidency College, and he spoke with such beautiful accent that we were moved. And particularly, I was moved by his accent, by his expression, and by the kind of scholarly confidence. So that was really unforgettable, and that was really very.
That led you towards the
Yes,
English.
yes. I
And
thought that I would try to emulate my teachers, and not only my principal, but most of the teachers were very ideal and well informed and very caring. And there is no this kind of coaching and all that.
right.
When you go to a teacher, the teacher would very happily receive you, welcome you, and would give you some breakfast, some snacks, and would really clarify all your doubts, and would come up to your satisfaction. So
While
that
you
was.
were doing all of this, how did the like All India radio happened? Why All India radio happened? ये सब क्यों हुआ? मतलब लोगों के पास वैसे भी
Actually, I used to make myself different from my friends. So I was always on the path of some kind of investigation and find out something new.
explore,
And
yeah.
yes, experiment. And when I was in Revenue College, after Bhadrak, I came to Revenue College, and Revenue College radio was the only medium to be published. So that was a kind of craze for me. That was my passion, to read and to speak. So one day I reached the old radio station, and that was in front of Stuart School in Cantonment, Stuart School in Boxy Bazaar.
Yeah.
And I met the PAX program executive, and he is no more now. He was a very kind, and he was very friendly and very resourceful man. His name was Dayanidhi Srichandan. He asked me, "What are you doing?" When I told him that I was a student at Revenue College, he took interest and said that could you prepare on this. He gave me a topic, I remember, myth and scientific rationalism. He gave me a topic. Then you write 4 to 5 pages in the conversational style. So, and then meet me. Then he found some interest in me, so that he did not like to dishearten me. So I went back and came after 2 days, and gave him 5 pages of writing, and he was very pleased. Could you arrange some of your friends who can fairly, so I arranged some English medium friends. Girls were, only girls were from St. Joseph. All others were from English, Odia medium schools. And we put up some rehearsal. And then that was really, that was my first encounter with All India Radio, and it was a it was really a success, because the
Wow.
next day they evaluate the program, and then Dayanidhi Sri Chandan gave us a couple of programs. And then when they found that my voice and my performance was quite suitable for the program, for it was Juvani, and TV was not there. Television was yet to come. That was in 1980.
Oh, wow.
That was
My God.
1980.
Yeah.
And I picked up and I continued. And it is still the passion is passion
And the
for.
study was going on.
Yes, yes, it was going on, and I regularly got offers from All India Radio, and I kept doing all these programs, Odia talks and English talks. Gradually, it was in those days, Juvavani used to entertain English talks, English conversations, but now they have stopped it, and it is only in Odia. So I have made my presentations in English and Odia.
So, matlab, I feel you did your study, you did again the All India Radio. It's like quite two things. And I feel abhi when we are in a stage जहाँ पे हम अपना study कर रहे हैं and we are doing freelancing and other things, we have a lot of, I see people that I cannot do this, I cannot do that because a lot of things are in my plate. So what do you want to
Always,
say?
always I remember one thing. Bajpayee's quotation, his couplet is that, of course, it came much later. हार नहीं मानूंगा, रार नहीं ठानूंगा, काल की कपाल पर लिखता हूँ, मिटाता हूँ, गीत नया गाता हूँ, गीत नया गाता हूँ. I will never accept defeat. I will never accept defeat. I have to I have to be adventurous. I have to be always on the move, because that is what my reading of literature has infused into me, that kind of confidence. When we go through Odyssey, when we go through Iliad, so naturally we come across such very bold, courageous characters, and that somehow or other create some kind of they positively impact our personality.
What's your suggestion from the for the young generation that क्या study के साथ दूसरी चीजें focus करना चाहिए
Yes,
या we shouldn't?
definitely. They must not be confined to study only, curriculum only, because the life itself, the entire life is the curriculum, and we are forgetting that. We are only approaching a part of it. Philanthropy, you must look at others in sympathy. We must look at others in compassion. When they are in need, you feel that you are in need. So don't think that they're in need. Mahatma Gandhi used to say, don't look up, look down. There are so many people, downtrodden people. You have to wipe every tear from every. He used to say, I have to wipe every tear from every eye. So that should be your approach. As a human being, you are a human child. And you are different from animals. You are different from others. And if you are not fulfilling it, if you are not disposing your duty as a real human being with all these qualities, altruism must be there, love for others, love for animals, love for nature, so love for neighbors, all should be a part of your personality. Then only you can be a good doctor, you could be a good professional. So there are people, there are people in Odisha also. There are good doctors, there are good
Yeah, yeah.
engineers, and though the number is very few, but still we must take inspiration, we must take lessons from these rare people, and they are true representatives of humanism, they're true representatives of mankind.
How
And
many years you worked with All India Radio?
it is continuing. It is
Oh, it's
it is
going
continuing.
on.
It's going on.
Oh, wow.
For 3 to 4 years, I have been away from it, but still, it is because of my other distractions. Because I am deep into social work now. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm associated with orphanages, a number of orphanages, because we have been, especially when I became a teacher in my student life, I was also a social worker in NSS. I was a naval cadet, also an NSS cadet. And I remember in one Durga Puja vacation, we built a road to an inaccessible village, around 3 kilometers road, and that was highly praised in Odisha. And from that, we really became very happy because we could make a road to a village which did not have a
Yeah.
road. And then I became a program officer. I was awarded. I was the best program officer of Utkal University, and I have conducted during Super Cyclone '99. I was the state camp coordinator. They made me the state camp coordinator. Students and teachers came from different states: Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Punjab. So I managed them, and I worked with my all my volunteers and teachers. We worked with army people who had camped there, and that gave us really a very important lesson. When serving people, how call of suffering, uh, it alters really the meaning of your life. When you find someone crying for food,
Yeah.
crying for shelter, if you come up to them, there is no greater thing you could do in this life than coming to their help. So
What drives you to do this social service and other things?
I have helped 500 at Paradip for 3 4 years with Smile Train organization Tata Rural Development Society. Tata's Rural Development Society is devoted to doing very wonderful social work, and we conducted. I helped 500 around 500 people, from children to old people, uh, get their cleft lip and cleft palate operated free of cost at Jamshedpur Tata, and it was Professor R. Bharat. He was the cosmetic surgeon, and a very reputed and very famous cosmetic surgeon. He did it in a period of 3 years. I sent my volunteers to Tata. I personally drove to road on my motorcycle to very remote areas in Kendrapada district, Jajpur district, Dhenkanal district, Kemjor district, Bhadrak district, Cuttack district, and arranged these beneficiaries.
And you don't feel tired and
No,
you
no, no.
enjoy it.
I have no. In those, when you are really working for others, we feel always very energetic.
So you feel the inside
Yes,
pleasure
yes,
then.
yes, yes. I feel that something is really helping me, and I believe in God, and God is there. And my old students, they have helped me. They would accompany them every time. 3 to 4 persons patients would go to Jamshedpur Tata. They would accompany them, stay with them, and then come, because they were not educated. Most of them were not educated, very poor. So every kind of logistic help would be extended to them. So
Right.
that I have done for, and because we are specially trained by UNICEF, and I have been tremendously benefited by being trained in Narendrapur, Ramakrishna Mission. I have gone there, I've stayed there in two
What
installments.
was that experience like?
Oh, it was wonderful. You find blind people being trained there. You are now we are now facing the self-help groups. We are now talking of self-help groups. But long back, there is even 25, 30 years before, I have gone there. They have taken us to a panchayat villages where ATM, when ATM concept was not there, but Ramakrishna Mission in that panchayat had made arrangements for money, availability of money at any odd hour of the night. But and you would be surprised. No one in the village would remain uneducated, and
Wow.
everyone in that panchayat, everyone would be provided books, and house educated housewife, even the business people who were educated, they would give the routine, they would give the time, and they would come and teach in the leisure hour. They would come and teach the village boys and village girls. You see, the newly married bride of that village, she would be very happy. She would also give her time, and there were no beggars in that panchayat in West
Is it
Bengal.
happening now also?
Yes, yes, Ramakrishna Mission is doing wonderful things. I am
Wow.
very, really, I'm proud that I was privileged to undergo training in stool instrument for 30 days there. And
And
I
what was
learned
the
a lot of things.
experience in UNICEF and
Yes, UNICEF, we are trained by UNICEF also.
how did
Uh,
you go there and
Actually, in the capacity of being an outstanding program officer, they selected me for that training.
Achha, okay.
Because I was an outstanding program officer, did a lot of things. I made many plantation
What do they
programs,
cover?
and the biggest thing was that in Odisha, in Paradip College in '97, I invited 120 organizations to make when AIDS was universally threatening disease. So AIDS awareness program we did with the students, with the volunteer organizations, making many cultural programs, so being a part of this rally and awareness campaign. And as many as 120 organizations voluntarily joined. And also, it was unthinkable. The awareness campaign, those who have watched it, and people from many NGOs, they also joined, and it was broadcast, it was telecast. So TV media people were there, and they interviewed me. How did you organize such a thing? Because once you have a strong willpower and want to do something for the people, there would be no obstacle on the way. Nothing would hinder you from doing it if you are self-determined. And that kind of willpower must be there, and confidence will automatically come off.
Yeah.
And we have also sensitized many students. Most of my students, they were also sensitized, and now they remember how they did it, how they went to interior villages, flood affected villages, cyclone affected villages. So that you have to, along with your teaching, along with your professional career, you have to do all these things,
Right.
because it is not to be only limited to your teaching or to your career. It has to go, you have to go beyond that.
I feel you work because you want to do something for your body, but when you serve, you do it for your soul. And that satisfies and gives the inner pleasure. I do charity every month, so I know how fulfilling
We
it
say
is.
it is charity, but it is your duty.
Yeah, it's duty.
We may have give this nomenclature, but no, it's a part of growing up as a human being that you must admit, and your destination objective must be to help others. You are not living for yourself. You are living for others. Uh, what you do for yourself dies. What you do for others and for the world remains
Remains.
and is alive forever. So before you go to, there is a book Todd Henry has written, Die Empty.
Yeah.
You must have die empty. Die empty means you must unleash your best every day. So when you die, you need not have to do anything, because all your dreams or what you thought of doing for the mankind must have been exhausted.
Yeah,
here.
you have
So
done.
don't go and feel sorry that you could not do anything during your lifetime. No. So you have to, if you are really sensible and sensitive, then you must do what you have taken by way of a decision to help others. So that you must do it here.
Also, in the journey of All India Radio, what are the lessons that you have learned and you want to share with all of us?
Those days were different, and you have to prepare, and you have to. I was given topics on socially relevant themes, on sports, on youth programs, youth how youth to be youth are to be sensitized, and superstitions. It's a myth and astrology. I told you, na. So many things that actually need to be highlighted. And in those days, there was no such availability of these multiple media. I was telling you, even DD1 was not available. It came much later. So only All India Radio was the only potential medium to reach every people in every corner of the in remote corner of the country. That helped me. That helped me. When I was given a topic, I tried to do it most successfully, so that it must be clear, and there must be no ambiguity. uh, Everyone must get a clear message. The purport of the presentation must be very clear to even the layman, and target must be always layman. As Gandhi said, look down. So even the most ignorant, most illiterate person, or the poorest of the poor, must be able to follow you, and then changes would automatically
Yeah.
happen.
Change starts from us.
Yes. Yes, it starts from you.
Yeah, it starts from within. So you start working on yourself
Yes,
and everything.
and that way, I would really recommend reading lives of great people.
Yeah.
And from my early life, early childhood, I have a passion. If you come to my house, you see how many biographies and autobiographies I have, from cineasters to Abraham Lincoln. Eh, because you must get to know how they built and
Yeah.
what journey, what audition they have made in their life to reach this point of life.
Yeah.
So that's and unless and they will sensitize you, they will fire you. If you go through biographies and autobiographies of great men, and when you come to feel that this is the way they have trodden, this is how they have done impossible things possible, uh, you will be inspired. That is a perpetual
Yeah.
source of animation and inspiration.
You were sharing about the biography and autobiography. Why I started the JRS show, the reason was that only. That why I want to interview people and listen to their story,
Yes.
because I was very, very inspired by APJ Abdul Kalam and Mother Teresa, and I wanted to be a doctor to solve. Then I realized with time, you don't need to be a doctor to solve. You just need.
Now, how you see, even in Mother Teresa's case, in the beginning years in Calcutta in the slums, how someone he you see worst how a poor lady, when she was offered 4 5 pieces of bread,
Yeah.
she did not give it to her children, and rather she took it to the children of the nearby slums
Exactly.
because they were also equally hungry. So that is the humanity. That is a real. That is the meaning of life. How you share with others.
And I was so inspired by all of these stories. And when I also started growing up, a lot of things, the stress, anxiety, we call it a lot of things right now. The stories of the people, it started Ratan Tata. It's like one of my biggest
Yes,
inspiration.
yes, yes.
Listened. Obviously, now I talk about Narendra Modi, the revolution that he did. I am very, very, very inspired from him. So I feel that the show was that we are doing right now. I felt like talking to these stories and these people are going to inspire a lot of people. So coming to the point, now I want to ask you, I met you in a writing program. So writing was a passion. Do you enjoy writing, or what is your connection with writing?
Actually, I read a lot.
Yeah.
Read a lot means when I get leisure, I read.
Yeah.
When I don't get bored. I always keep a book in my bag.
Yeah.
Whenever there is a some kind of on the I am on the train or I am on the bus there is a breakdown. So I am never worried because there is a book with me and there is a pencil.
Yeah.
And it was the contribution of my professors. They say always carry a pencil, underline, because when you underline you become serious. That word, your intimacy with the word becomes deeper.
Yeah.
The relationship with the word becomes deeper. So always I carry a book of my choice, and I carry a pencil. So that helps me that helps me a lot.
So आप कुछ सुनाना चाहेंगे आपके writing? Will love to hear.
And actually, I remember others other
Yeah,
poets'
yeah.
lines.
Anything that you love the most, please do share. Your favorite writing जो आपको बहुत पसंद है.
No, I
किसी
have
किन्हीं
not
का लेख.
remembered.
Okay. No worries. We will. I heard you in the school, so you were sharing about few writings. So I really loved it. So that's why I
I
asked.
write poems in English.
Yeah.
And they have been published. I write Odia poems also, and also I translate English poems into Odia. So I have done that, and I write also essays, reflective essays, critical essays, literary essays, and and now currently I'm translating a book called Slavery to from Freedom, Slavery to Freedom, uh, how black people suffered uh, all along their way, and now how they were emancipated. Even though Abraham Lincoln uh, constitutionally abolished slavery, but it still continued. So that is how everything is recorded there. So I think that book would be very helpful for others. And there is another book, a small book, but I do not know whether you have watched that film or gone through that book. But it's an autobiography. You must, if you have not gone through it, please go through it. That is To Soar with Love.
Okay, I'll read.
That is by Rick Braithwaite. Soar
Mm.
with Love. For a very small period of 6 months' time, he was a teacher. but he was an engineer. He served during the Second World War as a telecom engineer, and when he was decommissioned, he, he died very recently, 2 3 years just before, around 100. That man, and as because he was black in the civil society, he was looked down upon like anything, and he found a big gulf between what life was in the Air Force and what life is in the public life. And somebody, when he contemplated suicide, said, "I must commit suicide." But a gentleman, an old man, prevailed over him, looking at his face and finding this malady. That man is undergoing some kind of stress, mental agony, and diagnosed it, advised him properly in the right time, then apply for teachership. And when he applied for teachership, he said, "Everywhere I'm applying, but I'm disqualified. People say that you are overqualified for the job. Or by appointing you in our company or in our firm, we are not going to upset the entire hierarchy." And that was a kind of a big blow. And finally, on the advice of this gentleman, white gentleman, and he applied, got it, only lived there for 6 months. And 6 months' time, he only became a teacher for 6 months. And he changed the life not only of the children, of their parents, of the neighborhood in England, east end of London city.
Wow.
And then he became an ambassador. He wrote a number of novels, and that to soar with love. To soar with love means these children, they were so overwhelmed, parents so overwhelmed. When he left the school, they gave a gift and the packet they handed over to their children, to their teacher, beloved teacher. It was written to soar with love, and that became the title of his autobiography. He
Wow.
wrote later. It has been a film also. And it's very inspiring
Yeah, I
for the
love to watch.
very inspiring for the youngsters to start with, those who are starting their professional life, those who are out into their life at the beginning. They must go through or this novel, this autobiography, or watch the film. It's very educative and it's very very helpful.
People say that 60 is the age for retirement. Don't you think you need retirement or rest?
I never think that I'm retired. I remember always when people say that, "Are you retired?" I quote one lady from America who is nowhere now, Mary Kay. Mary Kay was an entrepreneur. And she started her cosmetic business in America, very famous. And when her children left her, deserted her, because her husband was bedridden, and both of them were there, and adult children, they left. So she started business at after 60, you see, and she became one of the most important lady entrepreneurs in America,
Wow.
and she made millions of women millionaires. So that is her greatness, you see. And then the children came back when found that their mother is in such height of opulence and recognition. They came back and she accepted them with humility. But every time the reporters asked them, "How old are you?" She used to say, "I'm 25." At 75, she was subject to the same question by the reporters. "I am 25." 80, at 85, she was asked the same question. "I am 25." Don't, age is just a number. Don't think that you are growing old. Try to do something. Read, do something for the people, and you will never feel that void, that the life is playing a very negative game. Don't. Be positive always. When you are positive in thinking, all these things will never come. And he used to, the people forced her to write her autobiography. She said, "What do I know to write?" "No, you write, just start. Things will come." And in the beginning, she wrote, there are four kinds of people in the world. Four kinds of people in the world. First, those who make things happen. First category. Second, those who watch things happen. And third, those who do not know that anything has happened. And last, those who wonder how things happen.
Yeah.
So you decide where you
You
will be, in
understand.
the first category or in the last category. So that is the people. That is our attitude to life and society. So if you look at one saw the two prisoners, we know two prisoners looked through the window. One saw the stars, the other saw the mud. So that is your attitude. So if you want to serve people, if you want to think good for the people, you will never find time. And if you sit idle, think ill of others, which most Indians are doing, idling away the time. How to? It's not that you are not growing. Your point of view is how why others are growing.
Yeah.
So that is the most malicious syndrome that is hurting us. That is that is really very painful to observe. People's attitude has gone to this level.
As we are moving towards the end of the podcast, I want to ask a question that is my favorite question. I ask every podcaster I did till now that what is your one message that you want to give to the world or whoever is listening us right now?
Mr. Churchill, Winston Churchill, in his inaugural president, in his inaugural speech, the prime minister said, "Then come, let us go forward together." That should be my message. And his college, he has started a college during his time. A college is Churchill College. That Churchill College's motto is written forward and taken from this inaugural speech. Come then, let us go forward together.
Together.
Then only all things will come to an end and there will be a new reawakening, new renaissance. Everyone, if you think that you are a part of me and a part of the whole system, then nothing wrong will take place. That is there.
Thank you so much once again for joining the JRS Show and the first
Thank
ever
you, thank you.
person in the Ameodia Bhari Badhiya episode. And I feel you are from my place. I feel so honored, so privileged, so proud that I met you and this episode. I loved every bit of it.
I am
Thank
very
you
happy
so
to be
much.
associated with all young people. When I am associated with young people, then a part of the youth is transmitted into us, and we become more energetic and
So
we
you are
become
young, you say, no?
more dynamic.
Yeah.
God bless.